Welcome back. As Nigeria moves closer to the 2027 presidential election, one issue is becoming impossible for politicians to ignore: insecurity. Across the country, stories of kidnapping, terrorism, and banditry continue to dominate national conversations, leaving millions of Nigerians asking whether security will become the biggest factor that determines the next election. The question is no longer only about politics. It is about trust, safety, and whether citizens believe their government has protected them. For President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the security situation could become one of the most important tests of his administration. Supporters argue that Nigeria's insecurity crisis existed long before his government came into office and cannot be solved overnight. Critics, however, argue that every government must ultimately be judged by the reality Nigerians experienced during its time in power. The debate now is whether voters will focus on the complexity of the crisis or judge the government based on results. The reality is that insecurity has affected millions of Nigerians in different ways. Some have lost their family members to terrorist attacks, others have been kidnapped by criminal groups, while many farmers have abandoned their lands because of fear. In several communities, insecurity has changed the way people live, work, travel, and even worship. This raises a major political question. When citizens feel unsafe for years, how does that affect their confidence in those leading the country? Every kidnapping victim represents more than one person. Behind every adopted citizen are parents, children, relatives, friends, and entire community carrying out the emotional and economic consequences. When thousands of families are affected by insecurity, the political impact can become much larger than the original incident. This is why some analysts believe security should become a major issue during the 2027 election. But can insecurity alone determine the outcome of a presidential election? That remains one of the biggest questions facing political observers. Elections are rarely decided by a single issue. Nigerians will also consider the economy, cost of living, unemployment, infrastructure, social policies, and leadership performance. However, security remains unique because it affects the basic expectations citizens have from government: protection. The government has repeatedly stated that it is committed to improving Nigeria's security situation through stronger military operations, intelligence cooperation, and reforms within the security system. Supporters of the administration argue that criminal networks that have developed over many years cannot be dismantled immediately. They say progress requires patience, resources, and a long-term approach. However, critics are asking a different question. How long should Nigerians wait for visible improvements? For families with loved ones in captivity, every additional day represents another painful reminder of insecurity. For communities attacked repeatedly, government explanation may not be enough. They want results that they can see and feel in their daily lives. This is why the political challenge begins. A government can announce new security strategies and increase spending, but citizens often measure success through simple realities. Can people travel safely on highways? Can farmers return to their fields without fear? Can children attend school without becoming targets? Can families sleep peacefully without worrying about attacks? The opposition is expected to make insecurity a major part of the 2027 political battle. They may argue that rising attacks show a failure of leadership and that Nigerians need a different approach. The ruling party, on the other hand, is likely to argue that insecurity is a national challenge requiring continuity, cooperation, and time to solve. But beyond political arguments, the emotional impact of insecurity cannot be ignored. A voter who has personally experienced kidnapping, violence, or displacement may view government performance differently from someone who has not faced those challenges. Personal experiences often shape political decisions, and insecurity creates some of the strongest emotional reactions among citizens. However, Another important question must also be considered. Can changing political leadership alone solve Nigerian security problems? The crisis is connected to several factors, including poverty, unemployment, weak institutions, criminal networks, illegal weapons, and regional instability. Any government that comes into power will face the challenge of addressing these complicated issues. The 2027 election may therefore become a debate not only about who is responsible for insecurity, but also about who Nigerians believe has the strongest solution. Voters may ask whether the current government has made enough progress, or whether another approach is needed to restore security across the country. For President Tinubu, the coming months will be crucial. Every major attack, every kidnapping case, and every government response will shape public perception. In politics, perception matters, and security is an issue where citizens often judge leadership through personal experience rather than official statements. The biggest question heading towards 2027 is this: will Nigerians believe that the security situation is improving, or will continued insecurity become a defining reason for political change? The answer may depend not only on government policies, but on whether ordinary citizens feel safer before they make their decision. Nigerian security crisis has become more than a national challenge. It has become a political test, a measure of public confidence, and one of the biggest questions surrounding the future of the country's leadership. As 2027 approaches, one thing is certain: security will not be a side issue. It will be one of the major conversations shaping Nigeria's political future. What do you think? Will kidnapping, terrorism, and banditry become the biggest factor influencing Nigeria's 2027 election? Or will other issues matter more to voters? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you find this report informative, kindly like this video and subscribe to the channel for more analysis of the biggest stories shaping Nigeria, Africa, and the world. I'm Chidera Isom. Thanks for watching. Do have a beautiful day.